This is episode 9 of the Feed Your Soul with Kim podcast. Our topic today is vacation, have to get away. We discuss self-care and how getting away is critical. It really can be just the right thing to do to help you feel more connected to yourself and others. Let's get started. This is the Feed Your Soul with Kim podcast, and I'm Kim McLaughlin, your host. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, inspirational coach, speaker, and best-selling author. I help people feed their soul by putting food in its proper place as nourishment and help them develop functional ways to nurture themselves. Today's topic is timely for me because this topic is called Vacation, Have to Get Away. And it's also, you can tell those of you that are kind of old school would know that that is a throwback to the Go-Go's, their vacation song, Have to Get Away. And it's one of the songs I think of when the summer comes along. I'll put a link to the show in the show notes for their song because it's super fun and it's really enjoyable and it brings back a lot of good memories. When we talk about vacation, I am like straight in it. We are going on vacation tomorrow. This year we are going on a driving trip across a few different states. So it'll be to a place I've been when I was a kid, but I have not driven this route that we're going. So a lot of the scenery is going to be really new, and I'm really excited about it. We plan our vacations well in advance, so I've had a lot of opportunity to think about it, and we actually been watching some shows about where we're going. We're actually going to Yellowstone National Park, and we've been watching some shows on Yellowstone and getting ideas about what to do there and what it looks like, and we're all just super excited. But it also means that I have some things on my mind about tomorrow, and are we going to be ready, and do we have everything going? The reason why we go on vacation is really for self-care. It's a way to better take care of ourselves and to get away from normal life. And so I have to manage for myself the idea of this is fun and this is enjoyable, but there's a little bit of stress getting ready to go. And I'm willing to walk through the little bit of stress because on the end tomorrow, when we get where we're going, it'll be really interesting and fun and exciting. When we go on vacation, I think the reason why we go is for self-care, about finding different ways to take care of ourselves. And actually, as I was putting together my ideas for this podcast, I thought I would just check on Google and ask why vacations are important. And what I thought more interesting than what the reasons are why vacations were so important is that 1.5 billion, with a B, people asked Google why vacations are important. That means a lot of people are thinking about it and are wondering why they should go on vacation. It's a good thing to think about. I've come to find that I just know that a vacation is valuable and I don't have to think about it anymore. But as I thought about talking to all of you, not everybody has the same ideas about vacation that I do. And I wanted to go into more depth about how you actually could make this more enjoyable. One of the things I think about why we go on vacation is it's really about getting away from our quote unquote normal life, getting away from the routine of how we do things and who we talk to. The places that we drive to and the people that we see are all different. And we can end up going on vacation and it can be an increase in stress or it can be a decrease in stress. So that to me is how you manage your vacation really determines whether you're going to increase your stress or decrease it. Because I know that we can have a lot of stress come up by just being on vacation. It can be very stressful. So we'll talk today about different ways to lessen that stress so that it actually is self-care and it actually is enjoyable. The things I think of why we go on vacation, also not just about it being getting away from normal life, is that we're getting out of our comfort zone and experiencing life in a new, exciting, and different way. We're meeting new people, we're seeing new places, we're engaging in new activities. And those are really valuable because it really stretches our brain and stretches how we view the world and how we view our lives. But I want to honor that in going on vacation, they aren't always 100% positive. And I've had that experience, I think, just like everybody else. But just because we've had that experience in the past doesn't mean that we can't learn from it. And it doesn't mean that we shouldn't go on vacation. So let me tell you some of my big tips that I came up with when I was thinking about how I wanted to talk about this in this podcast. The first thing I think of about vacation is plan it in advance. It's hard to be spontaneous. And I know people do that where they'll just say, let's go away for the weekend and let's go to Jamaica. And they take a trip down to Jamaica, probably a 5-day trip, and just say, let's just get away really quick. I find with my life, I have to have more of a padding of time frame. I have a business that I run. My daughter's in school. My husband works for a company. And so we have to schedule it out well in advance where I put it in my calendar for my business. We look at our daughter's school vacation schedule, and we look at what days my husband can get off and how much vacation time does he actually have. All those impact what we decide to do and how far away we decide to go. The way we manage it the best, what's worked out the best for us, is we actually plan our vacation back in December. Every December, we look back on our year in review. We look back at the past year and what has been things that we like and don't like about the year. And we talk about the upcoming year, about what we want to do and what we want to experience, what we might want to do with our house, but also what kind of vacation do we want to have. This works out well for us because we talk about it when we're driving to different people's houses over the holidays. Often we have to drive an hour or two to go to family or friends, and that gives us a lot of time to talk and to talk in depth about what we want. So that is the time that we begin to make our decisions about vacation. So this trip to Yellowstone was planned back in December, and tickets were bought in January because we're going camping this year. We have not done this long of a camping trip ever. So this is well out of my comfort zone about camping for this many days. We also had to get camping spots. And for Yellowstone, you have to do that 6 months in advance or they all get full up. As it was, we had a hard time finding spots because lots of other people had scheduled even further in advance than we did. So the first recommendation about how to get away is plan your vacation in advance. Do it as far back as you can. You could do it like we do, where we do it over the end of December, and we enter the new year pretty sure of where we're going to go on vacation, and we start making our plans. So that's one recommendation, is plan it in advance. Another recommendation I have about vacations is to really go off the grid. And by that, I mean, while you're on vacation, really disconnect from social media, disconnect from being in constant contact with people. And that's a hard thing for me to say because I have never had a vacation where I've been totally off the grid. And at this camping trip, I'm going to be off the grid in terms of phone and internet and Facebook, text, and everything like that. So I had to think about having autoresponders on my phone, on my email, on my texting to let people know, because people might call in for a psychotherapy appointment and I'll have to let them know that I'm out of the office. Well, I before have tried this, I have not been as successful at being inaccessible. This year, it is my challenge, my personal challenge to myself, to really not respond to email, to not respond to voicemail, to not respond to texts, because I really want to disengage from life as it is right now. And this feels like a challenge to me. And it certainly is stepping out of my comfort zone. It is out of my box. It is me learning to do something in a new way. What I'm interested in is the value for myself of being totally disconnected and what might come up for me and what I might learn from myself about being more present. I I don't know about you, but I am more disengaged from other people in the world when I'm in on social media, where I'm talking to people virtually, and disengaged from people that are in front of me. And this is a trip where I want to be totally engaged in what's going on. So I have committed to not being on social media, not working on my phone. There was one year where we were at Disneyland and I was still taking phone calls because it was, I could get phone calls, and I took a call from a client while the monorail was going overhead. My husband and daughter were going on a ride, and I was talking on the phone with a client, and my husband said, "Stop." And it really hit me that I was not disengaged from my normal routine in my normal life. And there was nobody who had a crisis that I had to talk to them then. And I have accommodations for people if in my psychotherapy practice, if they do have any kind of emergency, they know what to do and they know who to call when I'm not available. So I am challenging myself this year to not take phone calls. So that is number two, is let go of social media. Plan in advance, let go of social media. Number three I have about how to get away is, I find this is an interesting dichotomy. And what I think about is keep to a routine, but not too much. What happens on vacation is we can go crazy with food. And this is what my clients and I talk about a lot, is how to have balance with food. But it's hard to have balance with food when you're on vacation. It can often be a free for all for, I'm going to have whatever I want whenever I want it. And yes, you can. That would be fine if you do that. But I want you to consider, how are you going to feel when you eat that much? Are you going to gain weight? And how will that feel for you? And just wondering, what do you need food wise? And what I have come to see for myself is that on vacation, I keep to my routine in terms of, there are general times when I eat that feel real good with my body. And also there are types of food that I eat that feel real good in my body. And I stick to that for the most part. That actually has served me well, rather than saying, for the next 7 days, it's a free for all. I can have whatever I want whenever I want it. And the answer is yes, I can. It's just, how will I feel about it? And how will I feel about myself if I do that? So that's a strategy that I use, is I allow myself to have special foods, things that feel fun, and fun food as we call it in intuitive eating. But also I keep on my schedule of what really sits well in my body, because I don't want to have an upset stomach, and I don't want to be up at night not being able to sleep because I ate something that didn't settle well with me. So that's one of the pieces of a routine. The other piece of a routine that I think is important is to be physical. The day-to-day routine is often about sitting down, about driving in the car, sitting in front of a video, sitting in front of a computer. That can be really bad on our bodies. And I've heard lots of reports about how many years it takes off of our life when we sit so much. I'm not so worried about that. I'm just thinking about how you can get out of your comfort zone. And part of that might be, how might I engage with the world physically in a different way? And that can include that movement, and maybe a different kind of movement. I have on my bucket list, my summer bucket list, that we talked about in a previous podcast. What it was, episode 6. We talked about the summer bucket list. And on my summer bucket list is going hiking. I want to do that. We are going to be in a place that has lots of hiking opportunities, and a way to get off kind of the beaten path and see the country in a different way. I'm really excited about it. So what did I do is I bought new hiking boots that fit better. My other hiking boots were giving me, making my toes hurt. They just hurt. So I got new ones. I actually have them on right now. You can't see them, but I have them on because I'm wearing them in before we go, because I want to feel comfortable when I'm hiking. So my plan for movement is to do something different. My daughter's plan for movement is she wants to go horseback riding. So she's talking about what kind of movement she'd like to engage in. This is a great way to get out of your comfort zone and do some movement that feels good. Sometimes we think about routine, or I'm sorry, about vacation, and that it's really a time of rest. Yes, it is. And you can have rest and you can have movement also. So I'm a strong proponent of having that movement as well as making sure there's time for rest. And that is, to me, another piece of what the whole vacation is about, is to experience downtime, to experience rest. And actually, with me being off of social media and off of the phone, I'm going to be more quiet. And quiet actually can be scary. It can be scary to be just kind of with your thoughts. So I'll bring my journal to write in, to kind of get my thoughts on paper, as well as I have some books to read that I can help me be more restful, as well as I plan to take in a lot of the scenery to really explore the environment that we're going to be in. So number 4, in how we can get away in a way that's better, is to really make the decision to be with yourself when you're on your vacation and whoever you're with. That is really important because, as I just said, that with the rest is it can be a time of being with yourself and being quiet. I want you to think about, how can you be with yourself on vacation? What do you need? I think of vacation as, what do I need? What does each of the people that I'm with need? And also, what do we need together? I like to make a plan of how we're going to get everybody's needs met. So we'll have a conversation tomorrow as we're driving about, what does everybody want to do individually and as a group, so that we can make sure that everybody's needs are being met. I found that if I don't think about what I want to do individually for myself, I don't get it done, and I tend to acquiesce to what other people want to do. That doesn't work well for me, and I suggest that you don't let that happen for you too. So it becomes where you have to be mindful of what you want for yourself and what you want to do with others, and be able to ask for it. We first have to think about it and decide what it is, and then we have to ask for it. This is important, and just expect that your needs can be met. If you're going on vacation with the right people, they're going to be very willing to accommodate what you need as you accommodate to what they need too. Another tip for how to have a great vacation is to look at what you really want to do. And this is where I think of looking back at your summer bucket list, which we talked about in episode 6. The bucket list should have a lot of things on it that you want to do, that you've been thinking about throughout the year, and wondering what can help you decompress. This is very important, and also being open to having new things come upon you as you're on your vacation. There can be open spots or the wiggle room of, what do we need to do, or what do I need to do now, or what do I find is interesting, and having some padding in your schedule to learn what's going on in the community you're going to be with or be in, and then accommodating to that. I have a friend who's on a trip right now, and they're having over 100-degree weather, and there isn't the air conditioning, so they changed up their schedule a little bit to accommodate the weather. And I think that's a great idea, because you don't need to stick to your same old plan. If it's not going to work, then change it up, and just know that that's part of the schedule. The last thing I want to tell you about is, when we talk about how to get away, is the idea of, let the vacation be what it is. I was looking back on my old blogs, and there was a blog I wrote about making lemonade out of lemons. I have a link in the show notes to this blog, because it talked about a time where my family and I were on a local trip to go camping for the weekend, and our car, halfway away on our trip, the car started to overheat as we were going into an area that would have no cell contact and nothing. It was just straight away, no services. And we had to change up that weekend plan, because we wouldn't have made it with the car the way it was. So I I think about that time and how we made lemon. The lemon was that the sourness of the car isn't working right. And then we made lemonade by scheduling service near where family lived, local to where we were. We scheduled the service near family was. We went to stay with them overnight. We had a glorious night with them, unexpected. And then we got off the next morning after our car was fixed and had a great time in our camping spot. And that was a really interesting event for me because it really showed me that you can make a sour experience into a sweet experience. And really, the reason why we were able to do that was because we started to think about how can we get creative with this? What's the goodness in this? How can we make this positive? And that worked really well. I encourage you to let the vacation be what it be. And if it doesn't feel good, then go into the mode of how can I make lemonade out of this? How can I make it sweet? And that becomes an interesting new adventure that you wouldn't have even had if you hadn't of looked at how you can engage in the sweetness. Partly that comes from changing your mind about what the vacation needs to look like and being more present to what's actually showing up and how can you make it sweet?
Hi everyone, this is Kim and my book is out. Feed Your Soul, Nourish Your Life, a 6-step system to peace with food is live. I recommend you get it. It has all my 6 components of feeding your soul, as well as my own story. Pick it up now. You can find it on my website at feedyoursoulunlimited.com. Thanks.
Every week on our podcast, I offer a doable for you, and I would encourage you that this week be your doable of make a vacation, make a plan to get away. You might have already had vacation. Well, what can be your next trip? If you already have it planned, like I do, well, what's after that? And if you don't have it planned, I challenge you to spend some time thinking about where could you go and what could you do? It doesn't have to be a big trip. It does not have to be expensive. It can cost minimal amount of money. I like doing little mini vacations to a friend's house that lives within a couple of hours from here. I go visit her. We have so much fun. We actually are art friends. And so we do we make crafts during the weekend and it's so fun. And it's my little mini vacation getaway. And it's often a very spontaneous getaway. So I want your doable to be make a plan to get away. I told you why it's so important. I also told you that lots of people don't do it, and you might be one of them. So I want to encourage you to do that. I look forward to hearing what your vacation trips are like. You can tag me on Instagram. I'm at Feed Your Soul Unlimited, and tag me on Instagram and show me some pictures of where you've gone for your vacation. You also can leave a note under the podcast about where you went. I want to hear where you're going. I want to be inspired about where we might go next time. And it's only the best that we can do is to just make the plan, go on the vacation, and really enjoy yourself. This is Kim McLaughlin as I get ready to go on my vacation. I look forward to talking with you next week. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for joining us on the Feed Your Soul with Kim podcast. We come to you every Monday with fresh new ideas to help you end emotional eating and put food in its proper place as nourishment. Please be sure to subscribe to this podcast and review it and let us know what you think. Thank you for joining us.
Throughout history, humans have discovered that some things, while amazing on their own, are even better together. Like peanut butter and jelly, milk and cookies, bacon and more bacon. You know what else goes great together? Auto and home insurance from Wawanisa. By bundling your policies, Wawanisa gives you low rates and great service. It's that simple. We call it the Wawanisa way. Call 877-WAWANESA or visit wawanisa.com for a free quote today.
Can I get a drum roll, please? Because this is big. It's time for the Xfinity Best Deal of the Year on internet and TV. We're talking huge savings. And ask about even more savings when you add Xfinity Mobile. Okay, that's it. Now you can hit the... There we go. That's simple, easy, awesome. The Xfinity Best Deal of the Year ends September 23rd. To learn more, click, call, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas.